of World War III would do for us. Yeah, you're smiling because I don't understand what. It seems like we're marching very quickly towards war. I'm hearing the war drums beat in the mass media.
Yes.
And it scares the heck out of me because I don't see any benefit to a World War III. Now, do you see that as economic benefit?
See, the problem that you're having is the problem that most people have. They think that wars are started for or against. It's not about us. Okay, World War I, World War II, the Civil War, the Mexican War. All of these wars are bankers' wars. Now, General Smedley Butler, the most decorated Marine in history at the time, and this is a book that General Mattis has probably read, but he needs to read it again. General Smedley Butler wrote a book called War is a Racket. And in that book, he said very specifically that the way this works is banks make bad loans, like to the Dominican Republic or to Haiti or whatever. Or you have a situation like the Congo, where a decent president with integrity comes in and nationalizes the mines and tells all of the foreign companies trying to bribe him that he's not going to sell out the Congolese inheritance. I'm reading now David Talbot's excellent book, The Devil's Chessboard, and I just read last night the page where President Ike Eisenhower was starting to go senile and personally authorized the execution of the president of the Congo because he thought the guy was a communist because he had been lied to. Okay? Donald Trump's problem is he's out of touch with reality. He doesn't have people giving him decent information. And he is smart, but he's overconfident in his smartness because you're only as smart as your sources, your processing, and your red team.
Donald Trump, need people around you that gives you good information. If you don't have the good information, you're in trouble.
You also need people around you that will say no. Mm-hmm. That will say, Mr. President, get your head out of your ass. This is not the way it is. He doesn't have that person. Steve Bannon was that person. But Donald Trump couldn't take the heat.
That's not good. You need somebody who's going to give you that pushback and tell you that you need to. Okay, now, if this is a bankers' wars, which they all are, then is this to get out of the financial issues we're having? Because we are very weak financially. Mathematically, it's going to come to an end at some point if we don't turn things around. Other countries are really fragile as well. So, the European Union is very fragile. Now, would World War III be an attempt to deal with those issues?
World War III would be an attempt to kick the can down the road. Now, let me explain that we're not in as bad a financial situation as you might think if Donald Trump were able to follow the many suggestions that have been made to him. One of them has been a debt jubilee. The banks have already gotten their principal back. They're just sucking blood from the stone with interest, okay? And a very smart person, one of my gifts is to attract ideas from smart people. And a very smart person, so this is not my idea, a very smart person came to me and said, what if Donald Trump created a website, Debt Be Gone, and every American that owes money appoints Donald Trump as their personal agent for renegotiation?
Oh, great. I lost
American,
you.
Including the students and the elderly and the families and small businesses signed up. That would give Donald Trump $3 trillion of debt renegotiation power. Now imagine Donald Trump going to Wall Street and says, boys, you're going to cut the debt in half, or I'm going to declare a debt jubilee and every American gets a presidential pardon. How do you like them apples?
It would work.
Yes, it would work. Now, does Donald Trump have the brains and the balls to do this? The jury's still out.
Well, the people would love him if he did that, although...
Yes, they would. Sarah, please say that again.
The people would love him if he'd do that, although there would be a very, very concerted effort to in the media to talk about how stupid that is and how we would be influencing people to be not responsible.
Yes. And one of the reasons why my memorandum to the president has been read by over 2 million people, there's actually 2 memorandums. Each one has been read 1 million times. I put together a bunch of ideas that come together Okay? The Electoral Reform Act is how Trump neutralizes George Soros and the Clintons and Obama, who are in an active state of sedition. Loretta Lynch is on television saying she wants blood in the streets. Mm-hmm. She is inciting people to riot, which is a crime. And I've pointed out that George Soros is getting ready for a violent American spring in which we have Berkeley times 1,000. And I've pointed out that the governors and mayors are not Donald Trump's friends. They're part of the deep state. Okay? So an Electoral Reform Act plus debt be gone plus a Trump channel. Now, there's altgov.com and there's pollmole.vote. .vote is a new appendage for me. I didn't know that existed. So POLLMOLE, pollmole.vote. These two guys are talking, and I'm helping them. We've got it set up now so that we can bury Google, Facebook, and Twitter. And we can have our own system that American citizens opt into that is free, of course, and also that has blockchain encryption and cannot be censored. We have a Google Gestapo racketeering conspiracy going on right now, where everyone in favor of Donald Trump is losing ad revenue and is being repressed. With our system, Trump could do a Trumpet out to the public and get back 150 million answers onto a single presidential screen, and then be able to drill down by congressional district, demographic, issue, and so forth. This would be the world's first interactive digital democratic platform. And I'm not impressed by CrowdWise or CrowdSwarm or whatever Peter Thiel just bought, okay? None of these people have a clue. What you actually have to have is something that integrates education on the issues, town hall conversations at all levels with vote up and crossovers and stuff like that, and finally, true cost economics. Most of the discussions in the United States of America take place without a single whit of knowledge about what it actually costs, what the true life cycle cost is. Okay? So, commercial intelligence. So we have a very dumbed down public. So, answering your concern about the media, you know what? I no longer watch television. I now use my third screen as a backstop for my calendar. Okay? Fox News, 3 idiots in the morning, 5 at night. CNN, Chris Cuomo has deep issues from his childhood because his father was in Donald Trump's pocket. Okay? Basically, Donald Trump owned the Cuomo family. I mean, these are all conflicts of interest. But the fact is, none of the mainstream media channels, with the possible exception of Lou Dobbs and a couple of others, are serious. They're not offering the public what they need. So my construct is kind of a blending of education, intelligence, media, research. We need to create a smart nation and a world brain. And one of the proposals to Donald Trump was that he create an open source agency. I've spent 30 years pioneering an open source agency. I'm about to have a discussion with India about creating a post-Western engineering model, which is open source everything engineering. It costs $25,000 to build a John Deere tractor without John Deere instead of $250,000.
So who have you been talking to in other countries? Because I know other countries are listening to you and meeting with you, whereas you're not getting as much traction getting the White House to talk to you.
I have to give Russia credit. The Russian International Affairs Council has been listening to me, and I've blogged there. And in fact, Russia and India are coming up on their 70th anniversary, and there's a meeting between Putin and Modi. And I have been able to insert this idea because the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, and they really ought to add Indonesia. The BRICS have an alternative economic model now. They have a new reserve currency. They have a new World Bank. They have a new World Development Center and so forth. They do not have an alternative engineering construct. So I've just published a blog in multiple places, but primarily at the Russian International Affairs Council, on a post-Western economic engineering paradigm in which India becomes the center for creating an open source everything engineering alternative to all Western technologies that are now handicapped by financial and legal constraints. Okay? And the John Deere tractor is a really good one, because John Deere, you pay $250,000 and you don't own the tractor. You don't own the software. They own the software. And if it breaks in the field, you have to get a very expensive trailer to take it to a very expensive repair facility where they do their magic, which they own, and then they give it back to you and they still own the tractor. An open source tractor, which Marcin Jakubowski has created from Open Source Ecology, an open source tractor costs 10%. It costs $25,000 instead of $250,000. And it is so simple, parts can be replaced in the field by the farmer themselves where the tractor is. Okay, this is huge.
Don't you think it's like this on a lot of different fronts, especially like medicine? There's a lot of things going on in medicine in different countries that is not happening here. Other countries are farther along in things. Maybe we might be doing some of the initial research, but we can't develop it here.
Sarah, the United States of America is inherently dishonest. Okay, there's an excellent book that I reviewed called The Cheating Culture. And Carl Denninger has published a prescription for an actual health reform package that's honest. Donald Trump's healthcare reform, Paul Ryan's healthcare reform, Obama's healthcare reform were all inherently dishonest because they refuse to address the fundamental fact that there's no price list in American healthcare. It's a Las Vegas crapshoot. You pay whatever has been negotiated with your insurance company, the hospital, whatever. So an operation that costs $5,000 in Arkansas can cost $90,000 in Beverly Hills. All right? We have an inherently dishonest health industry, energy industry, education industry, military industry. They're all dishonest. And we are spilling 50% everywhere.
Okay.